Great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever this conversation finds you. I am Travis Gray. This is GrayT Transforms, and today we are blessed to be transforming with another great guest. This is Caleb Orozco, and this is the last round. We are inside of my favorite sandwich spot, my favorite pizza spot, my favorite place to watch the fights here in downtown San Jose. We're on the corner of 8th and Santa Clara. And Caleb, how are you?
I'm great, man. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Did you like that? The Orozco?
Yeah, Orozco.
I practiced that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man. No, it's been a blessing to be able to be here with you. And obviously, we've known each other for a while now, and you've been a huge supporter of us. So I'm really happy to be able to come on and be a part of what you do as well. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I live right around the corner, and I love fights. I love mixed martial arts. And it just so happened that this restaurant has been right around the corner. So I was lucky to have this opportunity to come here and have a place where I can watch the fights and things like that. And that was my initial interest was that this is a place to watch the fights. And, I remember deciding that, okay, on the 28th of every month, that's when I'm going to kind of go out. And that's when I decided to go out to the fights. So I think the first time that I came here was sometime August 2021. That was like my last round anniversary, kind of. So the last round has been around since 2019.
2019, yep.
How was that for you during the pandemic?
Yeah, so obviously, we had opened maybe 9 months before the pandemic. And, me being new to the industry and being new to business, really, I think my mindset was, I don't have a choice. I just got to make it work. So just my ignorance and not knowing kind of has led us to be able to still be open 6 years later, just because I didn't factor in like all the cons of, not being busy, I was just trying to figure out how to make pizza, like how to get people in the door. And obviously that happened. And during that time, I just used that time period to sharpen my skills and obviously change things in the kitchen and figure out how I was going to get better. So it was a blessing and a curse. But it all goes back to mindset, right? And how you view things. And, you could either use them to your advantage or let it drown you. So during that time, we were blessed to be able to still have people come in and support us enough for us to stay open and get into that next day, that next week, that next month. So it was tough, but definitely use that time to learn a lot of the lessons that are getting us through hard times now.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I know that a lot of businesses in the area, I asked other businesses how they handled the COVID situation, and for you just opening and then 9 months later, this whole shutdown situation is happening. That must have made you very anxious about what the future of the last round could have been.
Yeah, I think it was really easy to kind of fall into that trap. But during that time, just going back to the right time and the right place, and I think and the right mindset. For me, that was a time period where I was really, because I had dabbled in personal development and sports my whole life, and during that time is when I really got serious about mindset and work ethic and discipline and consuming as much good material as possible and then actually practicing it. So with that in mind, I was able to kind of just push through and grit it out. And if it wasn't for the lessons that I learned through my sporting endeavors, I'm not so sure we would be here today. But with that being said, I've had a fantastic support group. I've had incredible people around me, customers included. But yeah, it's really cool to see where we're at now and how we got started, and I'm excited for things to come.
Yeah. I'm a really observant guy. I'm always like observing different dynamics and things. What I observe about you, Caleb, is you have a lot of humility and kindness and gentleness, and you lead people. People are not afraid to be led by you. That they have a respect for you because you are anything if only respectable to all other people around, customers or coworkers or all of those things. And so I do observe that, like, it's that kind of personality, that kind of humility is going to attract all the support that you ever need. Like that's always going to connect and attract relationships that are in support of the things that you're doing. So commend you for having that. Is that something that you grew up with? You've always been kind of gentle in a way, or humble, or is it something that you're raised by your father, your mother taught you to be this way? Or?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for that, and I really appreciate that. Those are very kind words, and they mean a lot to me. With that being said, I was fortunate enough to be raised in a fantastic family with family values, and I spent a lot of time with my grandparents as well. I think part of it is just seeing other people struggle and realizing that they don't have the support that they need. So for me to just be that person that they could kind of depend on, I think that was inherently part of my upbringing. Um, and then just wanting to make people happy. I think for the most part, it really has been being raised by great people, and just having those values in place. When I steer from those values and when I feel like I'm not aligned with who I'm meant to be, things start kind of falling out of place for me. And that's happened enough times for me to realize the importance of sticking to those values and treating people right. And just like you said, it doesn't matter your position or the material things that you have or anything else. It really comes down to how you treat people. And like you said, the right people will resonate with that and will be aligned and will want to be a part of what you're doing. So I just try to keep it as simple as possible and just follow the golden rule.
Absolutely, that's awesome. So, and I've had the opportunity to meet your dad, so I know that your dad's really cool people. And so the family establishment, your grandparents have helped with the building of this as well?
No, so they've been long gone for a while.
Okay, but you were raised with them. That kind of tribal thing that was going on. Grandparents, parents. Did you have siblings?
I'm an only child.
You're an only child.
I'm an only child, yeah. And I think part of my wanting to help people and to help lead people kind of stems from my childhood desire of wanting a sibling, because I've always felt like I'd be a good big brother and take care of my siblings, because I have a lot of cousins and I see their dynamics, and I'm fortunate to have them around as well. But for whatever reason, it was just me, and I think at the end of the day, everything happens for a reason. So that desire for me to want to lead and help people hasn't left. So I think it's just translated into this way and what we're doing now. But yeah, my grandparents migrated here and settled here in San Jose, and just to see.
Migrated here from where?
From Mexico.
From Mexico.
Yeah, yeah. So both my grandparents on both sides from Mexico, and then my grandfather, he was born in 1908 actually. So he's been long gone, and he made it to 98 years of life. But he was born in New Mexico territory before. I guess it was like
El Paso.
Yeah. He was in Hillsboro, New Mexico, I believe. But yeah, just growing up with that, and like I said, it does come down to family ties and being influenced by the right people and being guided by the right mentors, and just seeing how they operate and how they treat people. I've been fortunate enough to train with high-level athletes, guys who are going to be in the Hall of Fame one day, and this is when they're just starting out as well, right? So just to see kind of their stature and the way people view them, and just see how humble and all the humility that they have, it set the right guidelines for myself. So yeah, I've been blessed with these opportunities to learn and observe people who operate at high levels.
That's interesting, and that must be an unconscious resonance for you. I'm an only child as well, so that must be like an unconscious resonance. I'm like, oh, I like this guy. Both only child, but only children get a lot of bad rap. Yeah, it's like, oh man, you're so self-centered or whatever. But like you could be more opposite of that. In my experience, in my observations and experience of you, you could be the more opposite of this self-centered. But that is kind of the bad rap of only children, because like an only child does want people, wants relationships, wants friendships, wants like just at least for me, I I feel like I'm like such a great friend, I just want to be a great friend to other people as well. And so that's really interesting. I like the cultural background and the grandparents, the parents, and how all of those values have shaped and raised you and been a part of your upbringing. So then the last round, what is the origin story of the last round?
So the last round, it really did start with my trainer, who was a huge part of my life. And we stay in contact because I started boxing in Sacramento. Originally from San Jose, but moved out to Sacramento early 2000s, and that's where I started my training.
How old were you when you started boxing?
I was 10 when I started boxing, and then competed all the way up until I was like 19. But his saying was, the last round's the best round. Doesn't matter if you're winning the fight or if you're getting your ass beat, but you go out there and you finish strong, right? So 3-minute rounds, and as a little kid, you start with like 1 minute per round and then like a minute break. So you have a minute to kind of go out there and just let it all out, right? And then as you get older, the rounds get longer. But that was kind of the mentality that I carried with me since then, and that's what kind of got me through those COVID times. Is like, all right, give it all you got, and then let the cards fall where they may, and that's pretty much it. But uh, last round was kind of an extension of the previous sandwich shop that I had my pop open up back in 2016. And again, neither of us had any real restaurant experience, or we're not chefs by any means, but my dad has a fantastic palate. So like he does like his tri-tip sandwiches and the braised meats and the meatballs. Those are things that he learned on his own. And we were there for about 2 years at that location, learned as much as we could. And then I moved into this spot and just been all in and figuring things out as I go. And, the business side of things, the finances, the taxes, the staffing, the payroll, the systems in the kitchen, the POS, marketing, everything has been, it's been fun for the most part, but it's been a lot of work.
Do you guys hear all that? All of those hats? All of those hats that you have to wear in order to start and organize a business started with your father, and it's as a sandwich shop. You guys aren't experienced in the business vernacular of things or the business realm of things, but it's just a dream.
Yeah.
It's just a dream to have this sandwich shop. Your dad having a good palate, so being able to get an idea, have a good kind of a taste aesthetic for what the quality should be, what that looks like, and then that grows into this. All of those things that you have to learn along the way. So now you began learning all of those things, and how did you end up in this location?
Yeah, so my family were from the neighborhood. They still live down the street. And I remember coming to this location when I was younger, and it was Nick's Pizza.
Okay.
And supposedly they were like the spot back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s that a lot of people would come to. And we were familiar with the owners, and they still own the building now. So really cool Italian family, old school. And we knew that they were going to be looking to retire at some point. So when they jacked up the lease on us at the previous sandwich place, we were able to get out of that spot and then came in here and fixed up as much as we could. And that's how we made it to this location here. And it was kind of just a natural transition knowing that this was a pizza place, even though I've never made pizza before. It's my favorite food. Whenever we go visit a different city, a different town, a different state, we're looking up, okay, who has the best pizza? So we knew from our travels what really good pizza tastes like. So whether it's New York or New Jersey or New Haven, all those places on the East Coast, and obviously pizza here in California. So I had a good foundation of what a quality product would be, and it was just a matter of figuring out how to make it. So the way things have lined up, I'm happy to say that kind of by accident and kind of by not, we ended up with this tavern style pizza that we do now. So, but it's been fun, man. Just taking one step at a time and looking back and connecting the dots. Looking backwards, then you kind of realize why things worked out the way they did. So.
What is Tavern style? What does that actually mean?
So originally, which I didn't know until after we started making it, was Tavern style pizza originated in Chicago. It's a Midwest Chicago style pizza, as opposed to what everyone's familiar with, the deep dish, which is also Chicago style. But Tavern style is characterized by a really thin crust with a cornmeal bottom, which we don't do here, but you cut it into little squares, and all the cheese and the toppings are out to the edge, and just a little square where you could have a snack and drink a beer with the other hand, and that's essentially it. What makes ours different is the sourdough. Being here in the Bay Area, sourdough is huge, and that wasn't the plan. I didn't plan to do that when we opened. It's just, like I said, the more I learned and the more I spoke to people and the more I taste tested different things, I just organically led in that direction. So it's worked out.
So it's thin crust cut into squares. That's Tavern style.
Yeah, it's light, it's crispy, and yeah, like you get the sauce all the way to the edges, you get the cheese to the edges. It'd be nice to get like the cheese crisps at the end. But that's essentially, it's a light, crisp snack. So, oftentimes one person can finish a whole 14-inch pie, or I've seen it, like, same, I have too,
Yeah.
And you don't feel so heavy afterwards.
Yeah.
And that's because of the ingredients that we use. So it's different here. It's different here in San Jose, especially. Not a lot of people have tried it or have seen it. So it's drawn a lot of attention just because it's something new.
When I come around, I see your dad kind of comes in for the fights sometimes. It's usually when I'm here, is like on a weekend or something, or during a lunchtime for sandwiches. And that's such a short window. It's not like your dad's coming in there. When did your dad start kind of stepping away from the business side of things, and you really took on the reins?
Yeah, initially when we first opened up, and this kind of goes back to a lot of relationship dynamics between father and son, and a lot of things that we both had to work on. And as I've grown as a man and as my own person, there's been times where it's like you have to sit down and have hard conversations with the people you love, right? So when I think about it, but to answer your question, really early in the beginning when we opened up, because I realized and I knew in my heart that if I wanted to do this, and if I was going to grow into something that I see in my head and in my heart, I had to be able to make the mistakes that I was going to make and learn from them and figure it out. And after a lot of discussions and arguments and, a lot of things happening, we finally got to this place where he trusts me, and I respect his opinion and what he thinks is best. But pretty much since the first few months since we opened, it's just been myself.
Okay.
And I want to give him credit for realizing that and giving me that space to come into my own, because I know it's difficult, as a young man and as a father, and I think that the dad's job is to protect and to be there for their kids. That he's done a phenomenal job of doing that. But at the same time, it's like you gotta let your kids fly, and him and my mom have done a phenomenal job in doing that. Especially because, again, I'm an only kid, right? We're only children, so this is their first time experiencing parenthood in this way as well. Right. So for me to be able to keep that into perspective has helped. But yeah, man, pretty much since we opened up, it's been myself and my dad. He has his own job. He works during the week, but it's always nice to see him come in, sit down, pour him a drink, and get him some pizza. And obviously him, our regulars know him, and I know he's proud of what we've been able to accomplish and seeing the growth of the business, and I know he's proud of it. So.
Yeah, wow, you're really thoughtful. Like you really have a lot of good self-awareness, and you're I can imagine those conflicts, and there are challenges, but your father, your parents, your family, the people around you must be just so proud of you. Recently on the podcast, I had this great conversation about preconception that was really encouraging and empowering for fathers in particular. Your father must just be so proud. there's like that transition period that is difficult, but so proud that he was able to give you kind of a crucible to be, brought into your manhood. You become a man inside of this restaurant. Raises you in a way like a certain junction of your life. How old were you when this started?
I'm 32 now,
32.
so
Whatever that is.
yeah, whatever that is.
Whatever that is, yeah. Okay, so we're about the same age too. I'm 33. That latter 20s and then into your early 30s, and what this continues to transcend into is really phenomenal. And so your father can totally be just super proud of what he has been able to accomplish through you in all of that.
Yeah,
it's really awesome.
Yeah, thank you. It's been, like I said, it's been the trip looking back at how things started and where we're at now. And since I've gotten older, I've been able to see my dad as in a different light, and just see him as his own man and as his own person. Our relationship has gone a lot better throughout the years, and I'm thankful for that because at the end of the day, right, we're not going to have him forever, so we got to make sure we make the most of our time together and just have fun.
Absolutely. So you have spent a lot of time investing in yourself. I've seen that just from coming and going, and so I've seen that in the development of certain elements of the restaurant itself. But I've seen you hard at work in the personal development as well. What attracted you to that? It seems to me that all of that personal development investment that you've done on yourself is a part of what expands you into having this level of self-awareness as well.
Yeah, initially, when I first was kind of exposed to personal development and mindset, well, it goes back to when I was able to train with some of the guys at Team Alpha Male in Sacramento. This is when Uriah was building his team, and this was during his WEC days. And again, going back to having those role models and the mentors that were just super humble and down to earth, he was one of them. He would sit down with me and we'd go over principles of success. And I remember doing some like meditation practices with him and his team. And this was when I was in high school, and I didn't have the perspective or the awareness of how important that was at the time. And then as I got older and then throughout college, and then after I graduated from school, I was working in Oakland, commuting every day at a little startup. And I'd be on the train on Amtrak, just like on my phone or YouTube, and all these like personal development guys were popping up, and it'd catch my interest, and I'd sit there and just watch their interviews and their podcasts. That's what really got my interest into how, like, what is human potential first of all, and like why are we here, and how much power do we actually have, and how do we harness that to start helping people. And just again going back to childhood and seeing family dynamics and just seeing where everyone's at now in their lives and seeing where other people were at, it opened my eyes to, okay, like what is possible for me, and like what can I do, and what do I need to do to get there. Um, and there is different for every person. But for me, I'm trying to go back to like my gut and my instinct and what feels right for me. So it's taken me on this long journey of growth and trial and error, and obviously reading and listening. And I was never much of a big reader growing up, but the last few years I've really taken that serious. And even if it's just a nugget or two that I get out of a whole book and I apply it, those changes have really brought a new light to what we're doing here at the restaurant and just in my personal relationships. So it really is. And actually, man, it's crazy today. What really woke me up was a passing of a good friend of mine, super unexpected. We grew up boxing together. It was like, again, going back to wanting a brother and this and that. He was one of those guys that I was able to like live with for some time with my trainer. I stayed with them for some time when I was in high school, and sharing a room and just like having fun and going to the gym, boxing and talking about girls and just joking around. And Today actually is the 16th, the anniversary of his passing, which is crazy. So when that happened, it's like you open your eyes and you're like, oh shit, you don't know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah. It was pretty abrupt that he passed away. How did that happen?
Again in Sacramento, got shot. Yeah. So obviously super young. Right, we have whole lives in front of us, but just Sacramento. So we got to do the most we can while we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I always tell people that the passing of these people that are so important to us, it's obvious that that friendship had such an impression on you. It had just coming across people. Sometimes if I were gone tomorrow, there's still something that has been impressed upon you that has shaped your spirit, your soul. And that is empowering your spirit forward, and that's a part of what allows this whole thing to be a success. And so it's always in just eternal gratitude for those people that are in our lives. I'm sorry to hear that the having a short life. My father passed away when he was only 25 years old, so I'm older than my father ever was in life. And it was a motorcycle accident and just not wearing his helmet. And in the state of Iowa, you don't need that. And so it's always that's always sat with me in such a way that it felt to me like I had to live two lives almost in all of that. But what that has later matured into the articulation of is that very thing of having impressed upon my soul is empowering my spirit forward.
Yep.
So all I can do in response to all of that is more. It's like more of being myself, more of being a good person in honor of that memory of that person as well. I loved what you were saying about reading. Ryan Holiday, recently I had pulled up this video of Ryan Holiday, and he's speaking about reading and writing. He always is. And I was doing this for my students. And the quote is, not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers.
Yeah.
And so you do have to get into reading. And I know that there's a lot of people watching the podcast right now that don't read, and you got to get with it. Like a lot of the guests that I have on here, they have books, and it's not just these powerful conversations that we're having. Right now, we're having a powerful conversation. I can see you writing a book that is called, The Last Round, and it's all this memoir of the last round coming into fruition and in alignment with your life and all of those things. Lots of wisdom, lots of gold in there, but you only get the gold by being a miner of the gold. You only get it by entering the excavation site that is those books. All leaders are readers. And then I love that you were interested in the self-potential and how can you help others in the exploration of self-potential. That's essentially what and why I got into the field of transpersonal psychology. That is what it is. Transpersonal psychology is the study of cultivating whole human transformation. Abraham Maslow, at the end of his life, was interested in self-actualization. What are these people doing that they are actualizing in their lives, that they are successful in their lives? And how can we shift the paradigm to help people in such a way by, the conventional paradigm, behaviorism and things have been very focused on let's condescend and look down on sick people in order to help sick people. Like we put ourselves as, oh, well, I'm a healthy person and I'm on a pedestal. And so now I look down at schizophrenic, homeless person outside and, oh man, this sad man, we need to help him or whatever, because we are so privileged or something. It comes from that like hierarchical structure. But at another level, it's we are on the same plane. And what are the people doing that have been able to rise above that have self-actualized and transcended? What are they doing in their lives that can help the ordinary people? How can an ordinary person become extraordinary? And so that's all been my love and the reasons for getting into transpersonal psychology. And I've loved the narrative of the warrior as bodhisattva. I actually get that from the title of a chapter in a book called The Way of the Warrior, maybe. The author is Bolelli. The author's last name is Bolelli. He's a martial artist, the warrior as bodhisattva. So I like this narrative. And then for you to say that you worked with Uriah Faber, Alpha Male, in Sacramento, and then he enlisted these success principles to you early on, and probably to all the people that he's working with. So he has this systemized program that is not just about fighting, but it's success layered on top of that in all of these ways. I hope that all businesses can take that kind of leadership role. Can all businesses build into their systems a way of succeeding in life in general? I've said this before, that I would want to work with people in my sphere of influence that are also succeeding in their businesses. If I need to hire a production person for the podcast, and I don't, I'm a one-man show right now, but if I would hire a production person in the podcast, I want it to be because they have their own production company and they're killing it. And then that's why we work together. And so that's just continuing this narrative of like, success breeds success. Iron sharpens iron. This warrior narrative, or this combat narrative, can be such a great crucible for the success principles and all these other areas of your life. It creates a lot of structure. You've got a lot of that from being in a martial art to boxing, from 10 to however long you remained at boxing. Right now you're in wrestling as well?
Yeah, so I picked up wrestling. I wrestled 1 year in high school, and then picked it up recently, the last 2 months. And that was just because, getting older, and I remember the workouts in high school being like intense, and like your back strength and neck strength, and just being at the restaurant all day, I just felt like my back was giving out, so I had to switch it up and do something. So wrestling's been something that I've been incorporating. And
I grew up wrestling.
Yeah,
wrestling. Another guest on the podcast, Georgie, a Bulgarian nightmare. So I love all of this, or this running narrative from the last round and things like this. Am I to understand that one of your family members is in these pictures?
No family members, but these are boxing legends. These are guys that, if you know boxing, you know who these guys are. We got Danny Little Red Lopez, we got Salvador Sanchez, who a lot of people ask, like, where's Chavez, or like, where's Tyson? And those are guys, obviously they're legends, and people.
I have some Tyson at home.
Yeah, but the reason why we got these guys up is because they just have a different style, a different aura, a different storyline, and they're not, obviously boxing fans know them, but the regular casual fan wouldn't know who these guys are. So again, this was all put up with intention, and these are guys that my pop grew up watching and influenced him. And these are all guys, Sacramento fighters, Papa Chacon, obviously Diego Corrales, rest in peace, Chico. But yeah, man, these are legends in the game. So
that's great. So now I want to hit you with this. Maybe this is my opinion, but it seems to me that mixed martial arts is a lot more entertaining than boxing. So let's hit this controversy a little bit. That'll be fun for the viewers. Boxing is cool. It's the sweet science. I hate when boxers are like, or not boxers, but I hate when boxers are wearing these frills these days.
Yeah.
All that is whack to me. These skirts and shit's whack to me. But then also the commentators, they're always saying the square to circle. It's like, that's so dumb. It's like, so, what do you mean the square? It's a square. It's a square, or it's a circle. It's not the squared circle. And then in boxing, you see these moments, and I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, so Terrence Bud Crawford, I think he's the best ever. The reason I think he's the best ever, my actual opinion, is that his ability to adjust in the fight it's very clear. It's seen, and that being able to adjust on the fly, that ability to improv on the the conflicts and the chaos that is coming at you in real time, that's a GOAT status. That's like somebody that's really doing something special. And so that's why I like Terrence Bud Crawford. But a lot of these boxers, and sometimes in here, in the last round, we'll have boxing on one screen and UFC on the other. And there are so many more exciting moments in mixed martial arts than there are in boxing.
Sure.
So what are your thoughts on that?
It really just depends on the day. Obviously, I think boxing, people have been saying that boxing's dying for I don't know how long. With all the politics and the money involved and the best not fighting the best. I understand where that sentiment comes in and why people would prefer to watch UFC because the way it's structured and the way Dana has the best fighting the best. And it seems to be more competitive. And the fact that they're throwing knees and kicks and elbows and takedowns, and there's a lot more room for excitement. Exactly. But when you're watching, I would take a prime boxing match, tip-top elite level over elite MMA, just because I understand the limitations of just two hands and the amount of thinking that goes into it, because you can't take someone down when stand-up's not working out for you. You have to figure it out. And to your point with Bud, that's what makes him one of the greats, is his ability to adapt. So I think I just have an appreciation for that more, just because I've been in it and I've felt it. And when you don't have an option, you're backed into a corner. Of course I thought about kneeing the guy. I can't.
You still only have these two weapons.
But yeah, obviously MMA is super exciting to watch. Blood and fucking like the elbows, and it's nuts. And these guys are warriors, and the women fights are freaking nuts too. So it just depends, what.
Yeah, I do enjoy watching boxing. I've seen some good boxing fights. Maybe like recent fights. I mean, recent cards there has been here and there some good ones. Some of that like YouTuber like Jake Paul kind of boxing. Some of those cards have been exciting like prior to the main event. I remember whatever the last one was, I'm not sure, but the ladies that fought before them were super great. The fight before that was super great. So sometimes when a boxing match is good, it's great.
Yeah.
It's active. There's stuff really going on, and it's not all this dance and patty caking and moving around. There's actually people are actually taking risks because they want to win. They're not just in it for this huge paycheck, which there's a huge paycheck on it.
And I think it goes back to like, okay, you're fighting for something. When you have something on the line and you have something to prove, and whether it's a belt or putting food on the table, or you're just a pure competitor, it shows it in the performance. And even with other sports, I'm not a big basketball guy, but I love watching March Madness. Like all these collegiate basketball games, to me, are way more exciting for the most part than NBA games, just because these kids are fighting for a championship, something to prove. Not to say that obviously NBA they are too, but I think at some point when there's so much other factors involved, it kind of dilutes the competitors' wantingness to win and their desire and their fire. And I don't think that was ever the case for the greats with Kobe and MJ. And doesn't matter the sport, there's certain guys who just have it, regardless of the paycheck or anything else. They just want to win. So,
I'm interested in that, like that special piece of greatness that is in those people that really makes them exceptional people. Because sometimes this great big paycheck makes them kind of like sit back and just do it. They just show up to the dance and they're going to get paid astronomically for the 25 minutes that they're in the ring anyway. And that was something that for Dana White, the UFC, they kind of spoke about. There's a lot of controversy on like, well, what do you pay somebody that shows up and does the fight? Who should get paid more? The commentators that are there not fighting, but they are there for 8 hours commentating on everything, the brand and all of these things, like how much of the ticket sales and the pay-per-view money, all of that. How much should that go to the fighter? And if they make too much money early on, then then they maybe don't want to fight anymore. They don't want to take it to the levels that they could take it. But some of the controversy is still there. There's always going to be controversy around money, I guess. But even on boxing cards, those early fighters are making nothing.
Yeah.
And then the guys at the end are making $10 million. It's like
Yeah.
what? Wait, how did that happen? I'm on the same card as him,
Yeah. There's a huge discrepancy in pay. But again, I guess it just goes back to your marketability and how many eyes you bring, and just look at this Jake Paul phenomenon. Could argue it all you want, but the fact is the kid brings eyeballs, and that's what gets people paid.
And he boxes well.
And he does. From someone who's been in it and who understands how much work it takes. Do I agree? I don't have to agree with it.
Yeah.
It's there. It is what it is,
Yeah.
and it's happening. So it's been happening. So you can't knock the work ethic and the eyes that it brings, because it's there was a night when there was his fight on, and then a really good boxing card on, and all eyes were on his fight.
Yeah.
From everyone in the room, and it just I'm outside just looking at this happen. I'm like, okay, there's something here. So,
Yeah.
and I think it goes back to psychology and
all
that
sure.
So
For sure. When people early on are in boxing, when they're you were 10, and it that sweet science is just a part of their upbringing and built into them, those people are always like, no, boxing's better than just like, well, can't give up on boxing being better. And maybe the same is being said, like I was more of a wrestler.
Yeah.
Maybe that's exactly what's happening on the other side of that. The bias exists there. But it's so funny. I think that mixed martial arts there's a beauty in has more variety of human movement. It's not just more weapons to be used, but there's more variety of human movement, so that you would think that means more sciences are involved if you're wanting to use that kind of vernacular. But there's more movement. There's more like opportunity for this abstract movement with the common aim of a specific goal to defeat your opponent. And any of these one-on-one combat sports, boxing, mixed martial arts, whatever it is, it's really yourself against yourself.
Yep.
It's a man against a man. So it's this man against the man in himself is what you're boxing. It's symbolic of all of that, all those narratives, all those heroic narratives. And then that's why I would like to see, like Terrence Crawford. He doesn't have a lot of this character of creating a narrative around himself, and he gets a lot of criticism for that. And I like Terrence because Bud is himself, and he's authentic. And I was just telling you before we started this conversation, that's really the most important thing. It's like you're just authentically yourself, and that's great, and that gets him a lot of fans and stuff. He has tremendous humility that is like, he cannot be perturbed off of what and who he is. But it would be awesome, Bud, if he started talking a little shit. And creating that narrative, I think, is also a part of the game, and it's fun, and it also becomes. It was something that I said to you about the last round, and it's something that you've been aligning with in your new rebranding and re-engineering the brand and stuff. Is that just like, how can you deeper and deeper lean into this narrative in every way in your life? The last round and the fighting and the boxing and the mixed martial arts. How can you deepen that so that it actualizes in all of these little beautiful elements throughout into the menu, into the systems behind in the back house, and all of those things. So what has that been like for you to build this brand the last round?
Yeah, it's been, like I said, going back to just trying to learn everything as we go and letting things evolve organically. It's kind of led up to this point. Having the background in boxing, and again, the mental shift and the mindset of what it takes to win. And it's funny because when I was in amateurs, I was playing baseball before, and I switched to boxing because I was just naturally better at boxing. So, but with that being said, I lost a lot of fights because my mindset wasn't there. Even though I was better, more talented, more skillful in the sport, I lost to guys who just believed in themselves a little bit more. And for me, realizing that now, I made the adjustments to not let that be the case. Again, going back to not having any previous real restaurant experience, not a chef, not trained in cooking techniques. Someone asked me to chop an onion, it looked ugly, but I know in my heart how things are supposed to come out and how they're supposed to look and taste, and more importantly, how I want them to make people feel. And it goes back to having this mindset of relentlessness. With that being said, when I'm sticking to that intention, it shows obviously in the food and the product and the service. But now we're taking a step further and trying to get more people involved with the same mindset. So you came in on a day when it was a big photo shoot day for us where we invited local fighters to come in. They're going to be kind of our first round of brand ambassadors, and just working with people of the same mindset who are going through the struggle but are persevering regardless. So our creative directors in that room, the fighters that we invited, people who are closely related and are seeing the growth of the business, everyone's on that same journey. So it's like, how do we encapsulate all of that, box it up, whether it's, like I said, on the menus, our website, our social media, our to-go boxes, our to-go bags. There are things that I didn't think about before opening just because I was just figuring out how to make pizza. But now that 6 years later, it's like, okay, organically people know what we're about. So let's now box it up and send it out into the world. So I'm just going through that process with Theo, who's been a huge part of what we're doing now. He is a brand therapist. So we go through in-depth questions on our core values, why we exist, who we want to serve, what we want to serve them, pretty much like what we stand for and what are we going to do to get there. So he's played a major role in that.
I like Theo. He had a good mind for all this.
Yeah, that's something that he's been doing for a long time, and I'm fortunate to have aligned with him. And just when you're sticking to your intentions and what feels good to you in your gut, and you're being truthful in that, the right people will come. And it's our job to maintain those relationships and be of service to them as well. So we're excited to see how it turns out.
I think life itself is an artistic endeavor. This has certainly been some level of an artistic endeavor for you. So what, there's a great book called The Mission of Art, and the mission of art essentially is a synthesis of that, is that it's about this message. And what is the art communicating? What's the message it's communicating? What are you trying to communicate through the last round? What's the message?
We always say always in your corner, right? So exactly it. For me, that means we're here for people to replenish their souls, to feed them, to provide a comfortable space for them when they're feeling down and out or when they have something to celebrate. And then they're here, get re-energized, and they're sent back into the world to do what it is that they're here to do, to go out and accomplish their own mission. So I like to think of us as kind of that place. Go back to the corner, your coach gives you water, gives you some instruction, gives you some support, words of encouragement, sends you back out there to go fight. That's what we're here for everyone who walks through our doors. So, and for me specifically, for my staff and my team, for them to know that they can rely on me, and I'm going to be there to support them as much as I possibly can, and run this together. So that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, I love that. So follow the last round on Instagram. You can follow Caleb at In Your Corner 100.
Sir.
In Your Corner 100 on Instagram. He's sharing just the ins and outs of building the business every step of the way, and it's a beautiful follow in that regard as well. And if you're in the Bay Area, if you're in San Jose, noon to 2 right now, you can get those best sandwiches. The Cubano is my shit. I just That must have been your dad's palate.
Yep,
Yeah.
it is that Cuban sandwich.
Your dad's palate got that Cubana going, and that's great. So love it on the pizza as well. I usually do like a combination pizza and try to discover and explore all the different flavors that are available. And love coming here on Saturday night to watch the fights. So if you're in the Bay Area, 8th and Santa Clara, we're here. We'll be here.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Who is this man talking to you? I'm talking to you. You are the realest one you know.